I am so ready to get rid of that sink. Tomorrow the guy's coming to cut the granite. So excited. We took out the cupboard doors to make it easier for him to get in here. Also just leaving all that stuff that was under the sink over there. Can close that door. I've covered up most of the stuff. Just my copper stuff is gonna get dirty. We covered up the cupboards. We covered up the lower cupboards. I'll put the towels in the laundry. And we have a curtain that will close all the way, so to keep it out of the rest of the house. Even got a sheet over here. So it's gonna keep most of the dirt down, because cutting granite in the house is a super dirty job. Of course, you have the window there and the door. So really just that stuff I'd have to take down and clean again. And the light might get a bit dirty, but on the front of the stove, which needs to be cleaned anyway, and I'll put my towels in the laundry, we'll be good. Measuring the new sink. Oh, I'm so excited. So here is the sink. I'm so excited. He had to trim out a little bit more of that support. There was already some notched out for the other sink. He trimmed a little bit more out. Did a pretty good job of tidying up. I just mopped the floor again for the umpteenth time. My sheets worked okay, but I don't know if you can tell, there's cobwebs. The dust had highlighted all the cobwebs, and above the refrigerator too. Don't know if the camera picks that up, but I mean, my counter still all got dusty. Even in my drawers, I pulled a spoon out earlier. That's all dusty inside, so I don't know if it wasn't closed all the way, but he had pulled the sheet around the fridge and it kind of tugged away a little to the side there. So, and my door, it's gonna be a lot of cleanup, but the sheets did help some. I just need the sink hooked up so I can do the cleanup. I just realized they'd already siliconed my sink in. I thought he was just putting it here for fit, but I see silicone, so now I have to do everything underneath. I probably will get my son to help with this because I'm not crawling underneath there. I don't see that happening. So I'm gonna do my best and get this installed. Okay, so I've taken apart this drain body, I don't know what it's called. There's a foam gasket that goes on the inside. And then this goes underneath. And there's a screw hole here. And there's a screw that will go down here into that hole. And they give you a little tool to tighten it. So I'll need to put this up underneath and tighten it. Okay, that's done. I tightened it. I don't want to break the key. The key is plastic. And I kept the body so that the drain was aligned to the back. That's as tight as I can get it. So the drain body is pointed towards the back. There's the drain. There's where it comes into the house. That's where it goes out of the house. There's a little one here I need to attach the overflow to. So I'll do that next. The overflow goes here, and it consists of this piece with the gasket and that tube, which will attach to that small drain thing. And this goes up in behind. And I have a little grate here with a hole and a little screw to screw from the front. And then you can snap this little plate over top of this. And that's the overflow. This is a very cool feature. I put the strainer basket in, and then it has this cap over top. And there's this wire here. For the life of me, I couldn't figure out what it was for at the beginning. This will go up to one of the holes in the top of the sink. And there's a knob, a control knob, they call it. So I can kind of pick, I think I'll pick this for that spot because the glass washer is going to be here and my drinking water is going to be there, and it'll be attached to the wall underneath on that side. So I think I'll put the knob here, and there's a little ball at the end of that rope and it snaps in there, and then you tighten it. And this allows you to plug or unplug the sink from the top instead of having to lift that up, especially if you had really hot water or something in there. That's cool, eh? So we finally got the sink installed. Well, kinda. There's a couple of weird things. It seems to be bigger from the middle than it is on the edges. So when I try to slide these things, which this is going to fall, and a big crash and a lot of water, I don't know, it's a little too heavy. It's going to fall because it gets, as you see, it's almost off the track there already. So, and I got this one full of water. This is like the washing basin, which is kind of cool. It has its own little drain, so I can drain it and they'll just go down to the bigger one. And then this is the drying one. So I can't slide them without them falling because the middle, for some reason, is bigger than the corners. Bizarre. There's also a cutting board that goes on, but it only goes on this upper track, so that actually is fine. And yeah, weird. I accidentally reversed when I screwed on the hot and cold pipes underneath. I did them the opposite way. So my husband hooked them up, blue to cold and red to hot, and the reverse. So, and the back of our cupboard is, I don't know, they put some sort of like masonite or something, and it's completely falling apart. So we're going to rip that down, and my husband's going to flip the hot and cold pipes for me. We had to be very creative with this drain, and it's too long. It actually takes a very long time to drain. See, because it goes down and it goes back up. So he's going to take that off, cut that pipe, that gray pipe, shorter. It's also interfering with the faucet black hose with the weight. It's getting caught on some of the drain stuff there. So we'll just rejig the underneath a little bit better. I think he put the overflow on this side. I didn't realize the overflow actually had 2 ports. And I took the plug off of one. And we're like, why is it dripping? Oh, there's this open hole here. So there's just a little cap on this one. But I think the overflow is better on this side, and it won't interfere with the black pipe that comes out of the faucet. And we're just going to rip this back wall off altogether. Anyway, other than that, it's actually working well. And we got a T. We got this only T they had with another shutoff valve. We actually need a T because we need a water source for that. That's for cups. You put your cup on, water shoots up and rinses it. And we'll also need one. There's another, I need like a caddy now for all this soap and stuff, but there's another port here for the drinking water. When we have our system put in under the sink, there's going to be a drinking water faucet there. So I told my husband, I said, you have a T. I need an F. I need another port. I need another one coming from the side. And this was so close to that masonite in the back that he couldn't even fit it onto the shutoff valves. We actually replaced the shutoff valves with the new ones that they gave us as well last night. So we have to come up with some way to make that fit so that we still need one more, like I said, because we'll need one for the drinking water. But anyway, we got that already, and then it couldn't fit on. It was too close to the wall. Anywho, I had everything covered with sheets, and as you can see, it still looks like it snowed in my house. Like everything, that counter is dust there. It's as far as I wiped. So I'm going to take everything down from everywhere. And even inside the drawers. I'm doing the cutlery drawer now because it's all white looking. So I already pulled out all the knives. I have to pull out everything, wipe everything down in every drawer. I haven't looked inside this cupboard yet. Actually, that's not bad looking. That's where my Instant Pots are and stuff. This actually stayed pretty protected. When he pulled the sheet across to cover the refrigerator, it kind of exposed the corner of the drawers. And I mean, I think the drawers were all shut. This drawer has an issue with it. I don't know what's wrong with this drawer. You can't push it closed from the side. Okay, I just lied because it just did it right there. You can't push it closed from the side. Okay, I know. Usually you can't push it closed on the side. You have to do it right from the middle because it's like the tracks aren't balanced or something. And I don't know if it was open a little bit or just because the sheet only covered, a little bit. The dust just blew in, whatever. I don't know. I had a pillowcase over my mixer, so that stayed extra clean. But then the other side of this is completely like snow here. Anyway, everything's going to get taken down. I already did this whole glasses. I got to do all the other ones. Up top of everything, I got to take down all my copper stuff. And I guess we'll try to dust the light. I had a huge cleanup today. And of course, all the construction stuff, taking that away. So the reason why I noticed we had hot water issues. Okay, this is funny. This is how you turn the sink on. You do this. And the further you turn the knob, the stronger it gets. Well, it was just cold. And then my husband was running water in the bathroom. And then I just turned it on just a little bit because I need to rinse something. And when I turned it on just a little bit, I was like, oh, the hot water's coming out. So obviously it's meant for the hot water to be full force. And we need it actually full force because our on-demand system requires that you have a lot of demand coming from your faucet. So if you don't have it on all the way, you don't get a lot of demand, and therefore the hot water heater will turn off. And we don't want that. We want the hot water heater on because we want to have hot water in the sink. So that's how I realized I reversed the pipes. Now, to be fair, when I hooked it up to the other side of this, it didn't say this is hot and this is cold. And then from the diagram, I did it the way the diagram showed. And when I put the faucet on, my husband says, why is the cold one coming down on the left side and the hot one coming down on the right side? Like, I don't know, I just followed the diagram. But yeah, they are reversed. And it would be a pain in the rear end. We'd have to take the whole faucet out to switch them around on the inside there. And it's just easy just to switch it around on the outside, right? Just put them in the right one. Plus they're crisscross now because, because we had them the opposite way. So anyway, that's a lot of stuff under the sink. But when we have this sorted today with the shorter drain pipe, move the overflow, flip the hot and cold around, it'll be all cleaned up, and then we can maybe rip that backing out. And we have this extra shelf we have to remove to fit the gas tank in. So I want to put that up somehow in that corner, but still allow for the gas tank. And then we'll do something on this side to make a shelving or some sort of unit so I can actually use this space under the sink. And we'll put the doors back on. But it was easier to take the doors off to work under here because, it's a tight space. But yeah, right now, Mama's got a lot of work to do. Okay, let's talk about one of the issues we faced with this sink. Now, the sink came with its own drain pipe. It was quite long, so we had to cut it off so it would drain properly. However, this was the existing drain pipe. And as you can see, that is very narrow. Actually, it's so narrow that I could fit this one over top of it. That's what has to go in the wall. And it has a screw cap around it, and there's a little rubber gasket there that you put on. You put the screw cap on, you put the rubber gasket on, then you screw it into the wall, and the rubber gasket holds that pipe tight. Now, you see why that couldn't work? Because this pipe would not fit inside the wall because it's too big. So what GJ ended up doing, this is actually the connector between the right sink and the left sink, and then that went down to the drain. That is a smaller diameter pipe. So what he did, he took the gray pipe and the length he cut off of here of the white pipe, put them together, and he put a clamp around it with the little screw clamp. I'll show you right now. So that is what he did, and that's the white screw cap that goes into the one in the wall. It's a little length of that white pipe he cut, and the gray one's around it, and the gray one did have this little smaller adapter at the end, so he used that because the white pipe fit right inside that smaller adapter, and then that metal pipe clamp. And the reason why we had to change the shutoff valves wasn't because these ones are nice and pretty. It's because those pipes that came with the sink for the hot and cold water did not actually fit into the ones that were in the house. That's why we had to change them. Which also means we may end up with some issues getting the right size for this with the T connector, because this is the same size diameter as the ones for the faucet. And depending on when the people come to install the purification unit, we'll have to make sure we have a T that fits some length of hose that can go to that faucet. So it's going to be a little tricky, but I'm sure we'll get it done. These are some of the things you deal with in El Salvador when you're getting, some Chinese imported sink with some parts that come typically in El Salvador. Now, I got to say, I really hate this because, as you can imagine, every groove in there, look how nasty that is. And I hose this out. Every groove in there catches dirt. This is a little bit better. The grooves are not as deep, but still, in Canada, you have ABS or PVC or copper even, or some kind of chrome unit. You don't have this, and you have a regular P-trap. You wouldn't have something like this under your sink. So it's just different. Standards are different here, and no matter how much plumbing stuff you came with, you are probably not going to have what you need when you're installing something like this. So be prepared for the struggle. The struggle's real. Okay, I got one corner and one countertop clean. Now, I got this shelf paper because my drawer is, not looking great. These are all worn, the bottom of the drawer is all worn up. So I'm gonna put that on, make it look a little better, and then put my bamboo organizers back. And I have washed all the cutlery, and even my son threw a plate in there. I really do like this sink. My husband hates the knob, but so a little bit is cold, a lot goes to hot. It takes, I don't know, maybe a minute for our hot water heater to kick in, and then it comes out hot. My water is getting cooled off there now, but yeah, and then I put my dish soap here so I can just, you know, squirt it into the sink, and when that's hot, fill it up. It's very easy. And then the other option, of course, if you go the other way, it goes click to turn off, and you go this way, a little bit is cold and a lot is hot. And I actually don't mind using that to rinse the dishes. Once they're cleaned here, I usually just hold it over here and then put it in here, because the other one makes a bit of a spray. And what's really cool on, that's the, you know, stream down, but on the other setting, it does this really cool pattern. Although it sprays water on the dishes I've already, you know, washed and are drying, so it kind of wets them again. So that's a bit messier, but it is kind of cool. And that is my dirty dishes. Here's a look at my real life in El Salvador. And speaking of dirty, I've cleaned almost everything. I still got the spice shelf, although I've wiped off of 4 spices or so because I had them for dinner last night. My canisters have to come back down. Those actually came with us from the Netherlands in 2019. They traveled in a suitcase. I never even unpacked them until we moved here because I didn't have a place in Canada built yet because we never finished our kitchen. So they are very precious to me. I'm gonna need help getting them down, and I think I need my husband, not my kids, because I'm afraid they're gonna break them. The little lids, they just fall off, like they're not like pressured on or anything. So just gotta be careful moving them in and out. So I gotta take all those down, wash them. And what I have left is 2 drawers. My husband left the broom on the floor, but I reorganized these and I never really finished organizing the bottom. So this is my opportunity, right? And I used this shelf paper on the bottom of the top 2 drawers. Anyway, I don't know if I have enough left for, well, maybe I have enough left for 2 more. And I gotta do that. So everything else is clean and tidy and lots to do. I did magically forget about these. I need to take this back down and rinse them back off because I never removed them when they were doing the work. I think the whole curtain rod is completely full of dust. So taking the whole thing down, washing those out, hang them back up, and wiping off the curtain rod, I think we'll be really, really done then. All the windows are done, the doors done, floors are done, the housekeeper was here yesterday. So, and then I'm gonna make some curtains for these 2 corners. That's my next thing I'm gonna do in the kitchen. It bounced back out though, it did. It was a little hard, I actually maybe pushed a little too hard. There, see? I told you, the door does not want to shut if you do it from the edge. You have to do it from the middle. What's with that?
Don't forget to hit the like button.